Hello again. This is Kyle. This is Rants and Reels. I'm about to go see a movie. Again, I'm going to go see Justice League. This one's kind of loaded. It has a lot of baggage. So I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm expecting to see another Batman v Superman or another Wonder Woman. It can go either way, and let's just pray that this is not another Suicide Squad. This one, this is Zack Snyder, directed by Zack Snyder. I've got a kind of tumultuous relationship with his films. Some of them have been quite good. Some of them have been just shite. So I have opinions of him as a director as a whole, which I don't need to overburden this with those opinions. We're going to see what he does here, whether this is, the good Zack or the bad Zack, and I'll let you know when I get back. That was Justice League that I just watched. I have thoughts, some feelings maybe. I'm not in love with it. Absolutely. I don't hate it. I didn't hate it. So it's not awful. We're not, thankfully, not another Suicide Squad, not even another Batman v Superman. Better than both of those. So, yeah, right out of the gate, better than those, but it has some significant issues. And I'm going to go ahead and start driving, put my thoughts together, and then I'll tell you what I thought.
Take that as a yes.
What?
The ring.
The world remains in mourning after the death of Superman. Violence, acts of war, and terrorism are all on the rise.
I had a dream. It was the end of the world.
Invasion.
I think it's something more. Something darker.
We're asking people we don't know to risk their lives.
Strong man is strongest alone. You ever heard that? That's not a saying. That's the opposite of what the saying is. Divided. We are not enough. The world needs Superman. I made him a promise. This is why I brought you together.
Ride ain't over yet.
My man.
As a bat signal, that's your... Oh, sorry.
That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's what that means.
It's so cool.
So Justice League. Well, like I said, I didn't hate it. But I also don't love it. It's fairly mediocre, really. It has a lot of problems. It does not maintain a consistent tone throughout the film. The pacing is very choppy at times. The direction seems a little sloppy. I mean, it's very, very much Zack Snyder, in that you can't really see what's going on during the action sequences. I mean, please, you can let us see what's happening. We don't constantly need slow motion. Slow-mo doesn't necessarily add anything to it. That said, when you've got a character like the Flash, showing him actually doing things in slow motion is really about the best way to handle that. But there was so much in slow motion that it was... I probably would have cut, 30 minutes off the runtime if it was played at, normal speed. So it's a little frustrating. Everything felt pretty anticlimactic. You could definitely tell that there were multiple rewrites on the script, even during production, because from scene to scene, things were not quite consistent. Consistency is going to be a big thing here because there was very little of it. It was also hampered. The whole movie was hampered by the fact that you have characters and new character dynamics to introduce. You have the Flash, and he needs to be introduced. His character needs to be built and developed throughout the film. So that's one hurdle to get over. You have a Cyborg. He needs development. He needs introduction. There's another hurdle. You have spoiler alert, unless you watch the trailers. How do you get Superman back? How does that work? And you add all of these things in, and the actual plot of the film gets a little lost in the weeds. The plot itself was really simple. There was not a lot of complexity, not a lot of depth to it. The stakes never really felt very high. It's not like they felt like they had an insurmountable challenge, as much as they tried to make it seem that way. It was also bizarrely, they definitely took the notes that they needed to lighten up. So they do have actual jokes. There is comic relief in this movie. The problem being is it's not quite evenly dispersed. Again, with the problem with consistency. It's not evenly dispersed throughout the movie. You'll have, joke, serious, and then these just long slogs of exposition. The exposition was pretty heavy at times, which is, that's not necessarily fun to watch. We can get the story as it unfolds, but backstories, origins. I mean, yeah, sure, those things are interesting, but I mean, this is the problem when you have. This is one of the problems that you're running into, that Warner Brothers did, DC is running into, because they didn't do standalone films before the team up. So the development has to take place, the character development has to take place during these big team up movies. And it's not just the story about how to get these people together. You've got to introduce Aquaman, Cyborg, The Flash. You've got to establish their characters, who these people are. If they had taken the time to set this out and to allow these characters to have some more detailed or in-depth introductions, I mean, in their own standalone films, like we had with Wonder Woman. Now, having the Wonder Woman film before Batman vs Superman, that would have helped quite a bit. That would have informed the character in that movie a little bit better, and then her appearance would be it would carry more weight and impact rather than just being something that felt like, in that film, a novelty. And that's a little bit what Cyborg and Flash and Aquaman felt like in this film. A little bit like novelties. Otherwise, there are good things. Like I said, there are moments of levity, and those were really good. I really like the way Aquaman played off of everybody else, and the Flash played with everybody else. Cyborg was a very interesting character. I would have loved to have seen more of his origins, his backstory. But in a lot of ways, this was his origin story. There are things that could have been done a lot better. It would have been nice to have. This is a film that could have, I think, gone through another rewrite before they shot. Now, if they had done the rewrites and the script doctoring before shooting, it could have been better. It also, I believe, could have been better without Zack Snyder at the helm in the director's chair. He's got a very particular style of filmmaking that doesn't necessarily lend itself well to this type of storytelling. He's got his own particular way of telling a story, and it didn't fit with the script, which is kind of a shame. A lot of things in this movie, in Justice League, are lost opportunities. Things that we could see these characters coming together in ways that felt a little less abrupt. You know, a little more like, hey, how you doing? Let's join the team. I don't want to join the team, but you have to. Well, okay. And that's really kind of what it felt like. I mean, everybody except for Flash, which was, hey, we want you to join our team. Okay. There was no hesitancy there. But I mean, there were a few things. Wonder Woman's character, Diana Prince, they were still hovering around the whole notion of her withdrawing from the world, and it seemed very unusual that you would go from what you saw at the end of Batman v Superman to really the same conversation taking place throughout the course of this movie. That seemed, the movie itself was something of just an atonal mess. There were incongruities with character, even within the film itself. It could have been better. It could have been so much better. But I actually think they're heading in the right direction, which is good. That's good to say. It's not a terrible movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not going to knock anything out of the park as far as, I mean, it's going to make, it's a Justice League movie. It's going to make money. It's going to be a success at the box office. But I don't think you're going to find anybody walking away just extremely thrilled. And that's kind of how I feel. I'm not extremely thrilled. It's not a great movie. So I'm done with my drive here, which means I'm done with my ranting. So as always, please go down, read the full review, which I'm going to start writing as soon as I get home, and probably rewrite tomorrow after I think more about some things. Full review down in the video description. Thank you for watching, and thanks for riding along with me. And if you go see Justice League, I honestly hope that you enjoy it a little bit more than I did. And I hope it sounds like I wasn't coming down too hard on it. It just could have been better.